Good morning out there to my Facebook friends, clients, and the like. It's Jonathan Bengal here with Naked Tax Talk, and of course just moi. And I'm super excited, and I'm showing up. And I'm sorry, it's kind of informal almost, but it's like the excitement is redonkulous right now. But my book is going on sale today at 11 a.m. Pacific time. That's in just 30 minutes. I want to let you guys know that I would love for you guys to help me to become a #1 Amazon bestseller for my book, The ABCs of Deductions, an entrepreneur's guide to tax write-offs. There's the link right there. I put it in the comments as well, that you can just go to and literally just buy my book, which would be amazing. I would freaking love it. I think it's this book I know is going to radically change people's lives. I know that it's going to add money to people's wallets in the sense that they're keeping it and not giving it to the government legally. Legally. And here's the other thing about it. Most of us entrepreneurs, we're so afraid of what we can deduct and what we can write off. And so because of that, we tend to overpay in taxes. In fact, if I recall, I think it was in 2017, there was a study that was done that was released by the Accounting General Office, or the General Accounting Office, there you go, that stated that Americans pay over $1 billion in unnecessary taxes to the government. Not only that, though, but for the past 18 years that I've been doing this as an accountant, as a tax accountant, as a tax consultant, you name it, every single time I have a conversation, I'm always asked the same question, especially during tax season. And the question I'm always asked is, what can I deduct? Is there anything I'm missing on my tax return? What can I write off? I don't even know what I can write off. I don't even know what I can deduct. And the reason for this is rather simple. In that when we wake up and we decide that we're going to take charge of our destiny, our lives, we do not necessarily pay attention to what can we deduct. Part of it is who wants to go read, over 700 volumes, it feels like, pages of tax law just to figure out how and what you can deduct. And if there's something that I'm really good at that people always point out to me, and I think that's the teacher in me, is this ability to take really, really complex concepts, ideas that are complex, and distill them to its basic form. And that's what I really wanted to do with the ABCs of deductions. I wanted to bring it down and distill it to its basic essence. That's really what it is. And when you read my book, there's 2 questions in there that you have to ask yourself as a business owner. These 2 questions will unlock the mystery of taxation. It will uncover some legal loopholes. And believe it or not, it's going to reveal some missed opportunities in terms of tax savings. This is the reality of reading my book. Here's another thing that I also discovered. Successful business owners, especially if they're CEOs, or that's actually what we all are when we're in business for ourselves, is we should at some degree have a systematic understanding of what we can deduct. See, when you're in business for yourself, it's all about, where does my money go? That is the ultimate question as a business owner and as a personal consumer too. But as a business owner, the question is where is my money going? Where am I going to put it? And the only reason why we're doing that is because we're asking ourselves, well, what's going to be the investment that I get back in exchange for sending my money outward somewhere else into another category, right? Into another letter of the alphabet. And by doing that, the IRS, which in my book I call Uncle Sam, he wants us and asks us every year at the end of the year, where did you spend your money as a business owner? Show me where you spent it. Now, one thing that should be very clear here is that we're talking about expenses and we're talking about write-offs. We're not talking about the repayment of loans, right? If you have a loan that you borrowed money for, the only thing that's really going to be a write-off, and I don't think I actually put this in my book now that I think about it, is I for interest. Because only an interest on a loan is what becomes the deduction. It's what becomes the write-off. But the loan balance itself is known as principal, and that is not a deduction. So that's kind of like some of the details that I kind of left out of the book, because you can see how that's really complex in just my quick 20 seconds or a minute of explaining this. But the point is that it's about the foundation, and it's about giving you guys the basis. Because at the end of the day, when you read this book, you should be able to have your own chart of accounts. That's accounting word, that's accounting language for categories. And these categories fit into your tax return. So here's the thing, right? Like, most people, I think, understand that a tax return is done at the end of the year, unless you're really different and you're on something called a fiscal calendar year. But I digress. So let's say that you, at the end of the year, right? So your tax return is really the summary of your entire year's life in terms of your taxes, your financial life, even your business and your personal life. And here's why. If you are a business owner and you're out there and you're marketing and you got the right messaging and you're out there and you're raising your prices because you're finally seeing the value in who you are, and therefore you have more revenue, we're going to see that reflected at the end of the year on your tax return and gross revenue. We're going to see this increase, right? Now, underneath that, we're going to see all of these deductions, all these write-offs, these expenses that it took you to make all that money, that it took you to raise your value, that it took you to finally believe in yourself and your company. And because you did this, Uncle Sam does something really magical. And that is he turns around and he says to you, you can in fact offset those earnings that you spent, or that you invested in yourself to earn, and we're going to let you reduce your tax bill as a result of that. Natalie McQueen, I'm going to tell you right now, the book goes on sale today at 11 a.m. There's the link. I posted it on my personal Facebook page. I posted it in the comments at 11 a.m. Natalie, you get this. I'm trying to become a #1 Amazon bestseller, which is why I'm asking for 11 a.m. I do believe you're on my launch team, in which case you will get the ebook in the next few days. But the book is going on a pre-order sale today with a release date of July 21st. I also am talking to my publicist today, actually in about 20 minutes. And my understanding is that the book itself has a July 21st release date, but it should actually hit your pocketbooks. Well, it's a pocketbook book, I guess, but it should hit your hands maybe sooner than July 21st. But we did that because of some of the edits that we're still kind of making for the paperback version of the book. And also the ebook. And there's a couple things in there. Like, for example, we're including, I think, an index. So let's say you don't want to read the 50 pages of my book, or better yet, you're holding your Kindle, you're holding your phone, or you have the paper book and it's in your pocket, and you're at an event and you're just like, I can't remember if I can write this off. You can easily whip out the book on your phone or whatever device or paperback and go, wait a minute, what's the letter again? And you can go back and look at the letter and then find the deduction right there. So we're adding that. So that's part of the delay, so to speak, in terms of the actual physical copy in your hands today. But that's something we're also adding. The other thing that we're also adding to this book, which I'm finding super cool, is we're going to add like a resource page. So we're going to put like, go to the IRS.gov, Title 26 of the United States Code. If you really want to be a nerd and go nerd out on all the tax codes, they're going to be right there, Title 26. And I think we're also going to list the publication where you receive your tax deductions. And I can't remember the top of my head. I believe it's publication 545 or something. But for my tax experts out there like me, maybe you can correct me. But needless to say, we're going to at least give you a reference to the business expenses. And here's another thing that I'm super, 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 super excited for. I have been waiting for the launch of this book because I am now I'm actually working on the next couple of weeks, a program that I'm going to offer to all of you to bring you in so that we can get the foundation. And it's really about keeping more of our money, legally paying less taxes. And we're going to do that over 6 weeks. And here's the beautiful thing. With proactive tax planning, it's about the future. It's about tomorrow, next week, even next year, next decade. I guess you can go all the way out till you retire, really. So with understanding the basics here, in a way, we're going to create a mini proactive course, 6 weeks to save more money and pay less taxes. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this book and expand it into further ideas. Because just like with teaching, when I got my master's degree in secondary education, the thing that we learned was how children learn how to read and learn how to write. And they do this by first recognizing the letters and the sounds associated with those letters. And eventually they take the letters and learn how to combine letters together to create words. And then they learn how to take words and combine them into thought, right? Into sentences, simple thoughts at first, right? I am hungry. And then from there, you learn how to say, I am famished. I am grossly overly hungry. I did not eat breakfast this morning, and so therefore I am hungry, right? So you keep building into bigger and bigger phrases. And that's kind of like what taxes is like. I'm giving you guys the letters to recognize it, and then eventually you'll combine the letters, the deductions, the write-offs, and ironically enough, begin to create more complex emotions in terms of saving more money. So that's what this book is. It's just the foundation. It's what gets you guys to the next level. I'm telling you guys, for 18 years, every tax season, I was asked the same question. What can I deduct? What can I write off? And I decided, I'm going to put a book out there. And lo and behold, it finally came to fruition. So with the last few minutes that I have here on my broadcast, I do want to give a big shout out to Dee Collins of Success Creation Academy, who helped me to put together my book. She is my publicist and my editor. I got to give a big shout out to Think Explanation Point Dapper, Janet Hernandez, who helped me to create the cover of my book and all the artwork behind all of the media and everything else. I got to give a big shout out to Black Belt Bots. That's RJ's team. For helping me to create CensorBot for the launch of this book. And I have to give a big shout out to Christelle, who is helping me in the front end of my social media. And then last but not least, I have to give, well, it's not actually the last, but I have to give a big shout out to my director of operations, Paige, who has kept this entire beast running really smoothly for me. And last but not least, I have to give a big shout out and a big thank you to every single one of you who have watched my show, who see me, who interact with me, who are my clients, who support me, and who engage with me. Quite honestly, I get such a rush from engaging with people like you, Natalie. Like, I really do. I get such a rush from it. In fact, when I was a teacher in the classroom, I think what kept me going is that I would go in the morning at 7:00. School starts at like 7:10 or something ridiculous. And I would end at 3:00 in the afternoon. But let me tell you, I was so high from the interaction with my students. Like, I was just truly naturally like, wow, the energy was skyrocketing through the roof by the end of the day. And that's how I am. That's how I interact with people. I really appreciate people who come into my life and work with me and support me. And I too love to work with people and to support people. And a lot of that also comes from my own personal background, in the sense of where I've come from in my own personal life. And that is knowing and understanding fundamentally deep down inside what it is like to not know, what it is like to fear. And so why should we do that as a business owner? And so one thing that I know that's worked for me to go from nothing to multi six figures is to understand the basic deductions and write-offs, which are really investments in our own self and business, which leads to more money and, ironically enough, less taxes. So once again, 11 a.m. this morning, today, aujourd'hui, cet matin, 11 heures Pacific Time, achetez mon livre. S'il vous plaît, achetez pour moi. I really am looking forward towards today, 11 a.m. Pacific Time on Amazon. The link is here. The link is in the comments. Get on there, get your hands on this book, and I promise you, following my book will lead to tax savings. Now, of course, you want to really maximize those savings. We'll go to the next stage, was to work with me, of course. And yes, I was asked the other day if I'm accepting new clients. And the truth is yes, babies. I have made some room in my schedule to take on new clients. So as a tax consultant and a business coach, I've actually opened up some slots for a very select few of new clients that want to come in and experience the Bengal experience. And it starts with, believe it or not, getting your hands on the ABCs of deductions, because that becomes our foundation, a very strong foundation to creating a spectacular future and for taking your life, your sense of happiness, and propelling it forward to the future. Because let's be real, babies, every single one of us who decided to become an entrepreneur have one wish, and that is the wish to be financially secure and, more importantly, to be happy. And so my book is the beginning of this. It's the genesis of this. Because again, if we can just understand some very basic principles, then we can apply this everywhere else. Now, also for my international friends and family qui habitent en France or au Canada, these deductions that I talk about are similar in the sense that the principle applies very similarly. Now, where you might find differences might be things in like depreciation or in mileage reimbursement, but the principle is the same in the sense that if I make money as a business owner, governments prefer to reward you by investing in yourself, therefore, thereby allowing you to reduce your gross income by your business expenses to arrive at net taxable income, which is what you ultimately send money to the government. So, needless to say, if you live in Canada, you live in France, you live in Mexico, you live internationally, I have several clients that live in the UK, the principles are similar. They're not dollar for dollar, they're not write-off for write-off, so to speak, but they're extremely similar. So the principles are very similar and can be applied. So that is important. And how do I know this? Well, I have some French amis de France. Et bon, déjà, je discusse avec eux. I just already talked to them about it and had these discussions. And talking to them, I also learned that they're very similar. They bring in the money, they spend it, and that's what they remit the difference to the government, so to speak. For my Canadian friends, I have a lot of you Canadian friends out there that love me and support me. Same thing, I've had conversations with you guys and I've heard similar deductions, similar benefits. So in a way, this book could be very much international. One of my other friends and colleagues out of the Philippines also mentioned that the principles in this book can also be applied to the Philippines. So it's about the principle. If you're outside of the United States, if you're inside our borders, then these deductions and write-offs will apply to you. And here's something really cool about my book. When you read it, at the end, you're going to have your own chart of accounts. Number two, you are going to be able to ask yourself the similar questions that I pose to you in the book. That's going to get you to think about what are some of your deductions. Because in my book, there's two questions that you have to ask yourself, two questions that must fundamentally be answered with a yes, and support behind the yes, meaning documentation, receipts, logbooks, notes, corporate bylaws, LLC articles of organization, things of this nature that supports the deduction. But it starts with asking two fundamental questions. And those two fundamental questions, you'll have to read my book to get those two questions. Then from there, you could ask and apply those same questions to everything else as you read through the book. And this is extremely important because it's just the beginning. It's just the scratch of the surface. Now, I will say this, and because I got to go up on another show in like 4 minutes. So I will say this to you guys out there. One rule that I live by as an accountant, the rule I live by is hogs get slaughtered and pigs get fed. One of my mentors, Joanne Martone, CPA, she has since passed away. May she rest in peace. And she goes all the way back to my career when I first started out in this. She would say that all the time. Pigs get fed and hogs get slaughtered. And that's really important because what I'm not suggesting is that you write off everything. As a matter of fact, when I have clients that come to me and say to me, I write everything off so I don't have a tax liability. For me, I cringe a little bit. I got red flags that go up all over the place because what comes to my mind is, sounds like you're a hog and you're about to go to the slaughterhouse. And what does that look like? The IRS coming to you, auditing you, disallowing some of the losses, and thereby your tax increases along with penalties and interest. So remember, hogs get slaughtered and pigs get fed. It's about taking it legally all the way to the rim. That's what we're about. Again, if we can support it with the 2 questions and documentation, my friends, we may very well have a potential deduction or a write-off. So I've talked long enough. The book goes on sale in like 10 minutes. Like, I'm super excited. In 10 minutes, help me become a #1 Amazon bestseller. The link is right there for you here on the screen. Also in the comments. Comment if you want to go ahead and buy my book. I would love that. Comment, I'm going to buy my book. I'm going to buy your book. Comment, let me know you're going to do it. I would love for you to do it. It takes you like 2 minutes. And here's something that's really important. We've got about a 30-minute window. 11 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. is when I've got to get the most amount of views to buy my book from me. 99 cents for right now, 99 cents. And it's going to equate to thousands of dollars in tax savings, potentially hundreds of thousands, depending on who your gross revenue, so to speak. But we're talking thousands of dollars in tax savings by simply reading my book. 99 cents is the best investment you could make. Honestly, 99 cents, the best investment you could make. So thousands of dollars in tax savings. I know you guys will do it at 11 a.m. today. Please, 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 I'm asking you also, share with your friends. Share. For example, are you a business coach yourself? Are you guys accountants? Are you guys people that you interact with people? Wendy, are you someone that you know other people that are entrepreneurs or thinking about becoming entrepreneurs? Let's get them to get out there and share the link with them and have them purchase it. Honestly, it's the best investment they will ever make. Yes, Natalie, 12 minutes. She's in. She's saying, I'm gonna buy the book in 12 minutes. I'm gonna go buy a copy for myself personally. I mean, even though I wrote it, also in 12 minutes. So I gotta go. But I'm gonna leave with these parting words. Investing in yourself is the best thing that you can do, especially when you invest in your business. Because what I know, what Naked Tax Talk, for example, stands for are the 3 pillars. We openly talk about our personal lives, our business lives, and our tax lives. Because what I know to be true is that when we improve who we are, we improve our business because it's an extension of who we are. And we ultimately improve our money and our tax lives because that is an extension of who we are as well. Okay, guys, so catch me on D. Collins' page because I'm going live like right now. So toodles noodles and see you guys over there. Otherwise, I'm looking forward to you guys to buy my book. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you.